Is the video off? So I should have to use it.
we're going to take off a minute or so. I'm just trying to check that. Okay, so for those who are joining in live, and that's specifically for the chairperson of the education committee, I'll need a confirmation that you can hear us. So just send that as a message. Okay, so while we're waiting for her to confirm, welcome everyone to the PCOJ World Book and Copyright event. Obviously, we've been pushing this for a while and we're having it again. I will do the school prayer first, so if everyone can please stand to the feet and let's take the school prayer. Whatsoever things are true, pure, lovely, and of good report, be yet forever flourish and abound, deserving from the shame, and life in the wide excellence, and exalt into the Lord and reference of all its members, the testament of thy glory. Amen. Nothing. My name is Florence Johnson. I'm a PCO of 2007. I'll do some introductions as we go. The first thing we're going to do is the opening remarks from the chairperson of the Principal Board Association Education Committee. Her name is Professor Okoroe. Professor Okoroe, are you able to go?
Yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please
Okay.
while we transfer to the
Thank
central sound system.
Yes, I'm good to go. Yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please
Okay.
while we transfer to the
Thank you.
central sound system.
Okay, good afternoon and welcome. Yes, I'm good.
If you put my
Professor Okoroe, can you give us 1 minute? We just need to transfer you to another.
Okay. Can you hear me?
yes, we can.
Okay.
While we transfer to the
Thank you.
central sound system.
Okay, good afternoon and welcome. Yes, I'm good.
If you put my
Professor Okoroe, can you give us 1 minute? We just need to transfer you to another.
Okay. Can you hear me? Good afternoon and welcome. Yes, sir. Okay.
Apologies, you should be ready in a minute. Can you say something? Can you say something else?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Okay. Good afternoon, once again, everyone, to our esteemed students, staff. You're welcome. The principal, Queen's College, the staff, the esteemed members of the Queen's College Old Girls Association, and our awesome students of this great school. On behalf of the QC, OGA, Education and Mentoring Committees, I welcome you all to this event in celebration of the World Book Copyright Day. This day is usually celebrated on the 23rd of April of every year to celebrate books and authors, and also to encourage people to fall in love with reading, not just for studying, and to respect the laws that protect intellectual property of authors. This year, the theme, Share a Story, is in response to the coronavirus pandemic, encouraging children and everyone to share a story of the written word, and the healing that lies therein cannot be underestimated. This event is in line with our vision to support our alma mater and students through co-curricular activities and mentoring such as this one. The world that requires holistic development of intellectual, physical, emotional, and social aspects of the person. And this is required today's world are designed to do just that, to stimulate creative thinking, explore talents, and develop the needed skills. The fun part is that you'll be doing something that you really love to do and that you have passion for. Recently, I listened to Chiamanda Adichie. I believe you all know her. She shared how as a child that she used to escape into the world of writing. Little did she know that this skill and her writing was going to one day place her on the global stage. Another person that recently experienced had such an experience is Amanda Gorman, an African-American poet and activist. She became the first person to be named National Youth Poet Laureate, using her work to speak to societal issues of oppression, feminism, race, and marginalization. Recently, a gift placed her on the global stage when she was chosen to present a now famous poem titled The Hill We Climb at the US President's inauguration in January this year. And she became the world's youngest inaugural poet. She described herself as a young, skinny Black girl, descended from slavery, raised by a single mother who dreamed to one day become president. Plus, she worked for years to overcome a speech impediment. She has made poetry cool. These are two women who discovered their talents at a young age, developed it against all odds, and are making a difference. You too can do the same. Today's event has been organized to do just this, to stimulate your interest in reading, writing, and poetry, while discovering and having fun at it, while discovering your talents. I would like to express our gratitude to the distinguished guest speakers for accepting our invitation. They are proudly QC OGAs who have made their mark in their chosen fields. And it is our hope that your interaction with them will inspire you as well. It is also our hope that as we launch 3 clubs today, poetry, for book reading, and for creative writing, you will take advantage of these opportunities to explore your interests, find out what you are passionate about, and develop your skills. The clubs will be open to all students, not only to students who have literature in English as a subject. Finally, our appreciation goes to the principal, Dr. Mrs. Yakubu Oyinloye, and her staff for their cooperation and for their working tirelessly to make this event a reality. I thank members of the 2 committees, especially the Secretariat, who have literally worked around the clock and at a distance to make this event happen. Our thanks go to Folake Johnson, our media consultant, and the QCOGA Secretariat for their support. This event is being streamed live, and we are happy that we can make that happen. I look forward to seeing Chiamanda's and Amanda Gorman's emerge from QCOGA. Thank you, and I hope you have fun.
So we have to do another day. And then that is why we have so many programs this time, and this time is not too long. You have to find a day for it. And we are happy that
Finance Department and holds a postgraduate certificate from Nottingham University. She's an old girl, Prince Collect class of 1977. I think I need to start. I wasn't even born yet. Fantastic. Okay. The second person I'll be introducing is someone who goes by the name Salt. Yeah, I know that sounds. When I hear this song, it's like, what's going on? Okay, so Salt Estienne Nelson is first and foremost God's era girl. She's also a working wife, mom, and a blogger turned published author. Salt is also the founder of the Shola Adefolanu Aska Foundation, aka the Shirley Smile Factory, a not-for-profit organization determined to make the world a happier place, one smile at a time. She's an old girl Prince College class of 1984. So we're going to go quickly into the book reading and conversation, which will be taken by Salt. Should I say Salt? Okay, it will be taken by Salt. So yeah, put your hands together for her. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. All of the teaching staff, members of the QC OBL Association, the members of the Education and Management Committee. Thank you all for arranging this, and thank you all for having this. And it's as Barbara has said, my name is Salt. So we're going to try and figure out from the back there. Why do you think what's Salt all about? Let's just get some interaction going before I go into why I'm doing this thing. Who wants to give it a shot? Yeah, who wants to give it a shot? Who has a loud voice? Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Salt that adds flavor. If you look into the Bible, there's a scripture that talks about the salt of the earth. So when you call me that, you are reminding me of what I'm trying to do. In one word, that's my purpose. Then after you can sit down and you can break it down and go further. So if you want to know what's my why is to be salt of earth. And part of this salt of earth is why I'm standing in front of you here. So, Queens, I salute you. Let's go into the meeting game and you just share something with you. I'm hoping this will be interactive. Is that okay with you guys? We're gonna talk together. I like that. Sure. I was supposed to have 20 minutes, but I hear I have 20, so let's see how it goes. Okay. So let me explain. What's the theme for this year's World Book and Copywriting? Here's what it is. Sharing your story. Why do you guys think it's important to share a story? And I'm so sorry, my dear audience online, good morning to you as well. I'm sorry, but I know I have my sister watching. Hey ladies, thank you so much. And members of the Full Talks family as well, if you're tuned in, thank you. Why is it important to share a story? Professor Fuller has already given us some subject. You guys can use that word. Clearly not. Project Expo. Why do you think it's important to share a story? Just for one person, so I can be interactive. I'm not here to talk past you. I want us to talk together. Yes, my dear women. Excellent. It's important to share stories so people can learn from your story. Because I have just 20 minutes, let me just run through the reasons what I've come to tell you today, what I have come to tell you that it's important for you to share your story. And I want to it. And the truth of the matter is that if you don't share your story, who will? Who can tell your story better than you yourself? Can anybody? Your story, you yourself, your voice, you are uniquely you. And only you can tell your story. So I've come to encourage you to tell your story, and here are the reasons why. Above just being able to teach people and let them learn from your story, here are the benefits to you yourself. When you tell your story, you express yourself, you express your gift, you express your creativity. When you share your story, this is what's happening for you. In some cases, you're healing yourself, you're comforting yourself, you're transforming yourself through your stories. I started writing, I started blogging in 2009, primarily just to heal myself, to comfort myself. Every evening after work, a long day, I'll just sit at my computer and share my thoughts with myself at that time. And that's how it starts. Sometimes it just starts with you telling yourself what's going on in your life. I want you to think of sharing your story because that's another key way to be salt and to be light, like I've said. Share your story because that's one way. Who wants to build legacy here? Who wants to leave something behind when they're gone? Yes, we all want to leave something behind. When you share your story, write that book and publish that book, write that poem, write that song. I know today is World Book and Copywriting, but hey, Queens, it's not just about writing books or poems. And I'll get to that in a bit. What else do you do for yourself when you share your story? You know, when I first started writing, I was so afraid, but I was writing in a little blog called The Diary of a Desperate Nigerian Woman. And I thought I was the only one reading it. So nobody was following me, and I was okay with that. And people started following the blog, started leaving comments, and people started encouraging me to publish all these blogs into a book, and I was like, did for the readers. It got them to think about being intentional. It's educating people, it's healing people, it's transforming, learn from others. So when you share your story and you're authentic and you're real, and you tell people your mistakes to learn from your mistakes as well. That's why you're so raw. Why do you tell all? Am I taking this reputation to heaven? If me being real with my story can help somebody, help you, Queen, not make that same mistake. Help you, Queen, not make that same error. Then it's worth it. That's how you help others. You can encourage people. But all of that, I can do a blog on this and send it to you through the school and just enumerate everything there so you can read it later. But here is the summary before I go to my book reading. Somebody watching my time? Okay, I'm sure somebody will chase me if I was stretched. Here is the summary why you share your story. Here is the summary of why Amanda Gorman is everywhere now. You all know the name of Chimamanda Adichie. Because when you share your story, Queens, you make a difference in the world. You touch lives. So, I want to read from my book. So you're getting one of my books. It's called, that book is the one that's titled for my sister. It's the story of us. A personal story, my personal letter to my sister. I'm going to get that. This is the last time I read before that one. And I purposely chose this book because I wanted to free your mind from that thing where they say the story has to be written in such and such a way. All due respect to your literature. You can be free with your writing. You can do you with your writing. Break all the rules. Write out of the box. Don't let anybody tell you how or whether you have 14 lines or 2 paragraphs or command. You do you. Because you're bringing your unique things to the world. If you don't do that, you're doing a disservice to humanity. Don't be a cheap copy of somebody else. But hey guys, you can learn from somebody else that you admire. Who wants to share their favorite book or favorite author right now? Yes? Sorry? Okay, I'm back there.
Can we use this one instead of that?
Sorry? And it's like, imagine, I used to do writing too when I was younger. So you can start off, if you want to write, you can start off writing children's books like an enlightenment. You can start off writing a little bit like her. You can copy a little bit, but the more you write, like somebody else, the more confident you get, guess what? Your own voice starts coming out. Okay, so I'm going to read a story from this book. I call them the Salt Fables. Because they were written like, those story, once upon a time, my time. Hello. Thank you, you guys are correct. Hold on. They were written like that. I didn't care what anybody said. I just wanted to express myself. But I wanted the story to deliver a message. I'm going to read. And then after, I'm going to ask a question and then I'll close. I'm sure my time is almost up. You tell me what was the purpose of that story? What was I trying to do with that story? The title is called Once Upon a Woman Called. All the stories started with Once Upon a. So this is Once Upon a Woman Called. Once upon a time, in a town not far from mine, there lived 4 women, quite like you and I, or maybe not. Ewa has always been smart. Yes, she was a bright girl, bright as a button. So it was no wonder to anyone in the town that she had become one of the top players in her field. You could not open any edition of the Who is Who and not see her name there, all her accomplishments and all her achievements. Whenever they were looking for somebody with those kind of professional accomplishments, a full resume, Ewa was called. Then there was Iyanu. Iyanu was gifted. Right from her crib, she could
scribble in milk. At least that is what she was told. She was writing even before she could walk. Iyanu was not out of school before accolades and prizes began pouring in. A genius is what they called her, home and abroad, a prodigy, such a grasp of words, so articulate. When they were looking for people with writing accomplishments in the town, Iyanu was called. Then there was Oge. Oge, as you already guessed by your sniggering, was a jewel in all her ways, pretty as a rainbow, always dressed to the nines. From the age of 2 till 22, if it was stylish, she wore it. If it was in vogue, she was it. Oge was indeed the pride and joy of her family. And whenever people needed a woman of great fashion accomplishments, Oge was called. One day, the king of this village had a problem. He needed a great person with great accomplishments to help him solve the problem. The king sent to the town, and they said, "Oh, don't worry, dear king. We have the people for you. We have Ewa, Iyanu, and Oge." So the king summoned these accomplished ladies and asked them to solve his problem. 0. Ewa, Iyanu, and Oge were empty. So the king asked them, "What is the point of all these your great accomplishments if you cannot solve my problem?" Then from nowhere, a hand went up in the crowd, and everyone looked at the hand and gasped.
talking more to senior secondary, right? And most of us are thinking about life beyond Queen's College. I can still play the day I packed my box and I walked out of this gate. I was light and I felt, yes, the world is ready for me. Didn't work out quite like that. But, you know, it's a journey. When you leave Queen's College, some habits have to be left behind in Queen's College. And that's why we're talking about plagiarism today. The other word we need to understand is copyright infringement. What is that? Copyright infringement is the use of works produced by copyright law without permission. So we normally hear about copyright infringement when you try and take David O's song, or you take Simi's song and you use it and you didn't acknowledge that the words are hers, right? Now, even on social media, when you want to do your posts, there's some songs you want to put behind your post, but Instagram doesn't allow you, right? Because it's a copyright infringement. So copyright infringement and plagiarism go hand in hand. And what is it to you as a young lady setting out on the journey of life to write their book? They say that to be forewarned is to be forearmed, right? And when I was thinking about this topic, it reminded me of Queen's College in the 70s. Mr. Snell, biology, we had to cram. What is pyrogyra? Can anybody answer that? What is pyrogyra? How do you... Spirogyra, you have a long paragraph, right, that you have to cram in your head. Or they gave you a simplified one. Or you can write it in your own words. Can you write it in your own words? Hands up. No. You have to write something that was given to you, right? And you have to vary, right? And you miss one word, you have to go back to the beginning. Copyright infringement is not your words. The truth is, you need to be able to explain Spirogyra in your own words to show that you have learned what Spirogyra is. So I took this out from Wikipedia. Would you write this as your answer? It's too long. But at the same time, teachers sometimes expect that you give back the answer the way they gave it to you. Yes or no? Yes. Good. So let me tell you a quick story. My son was in a school, and every time I went there, I would see his work, and they would mark him 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. So one day I just got up and I said, look, you people need to explain what my son is doing wrong about his work. And they said, Madam, he's a very brilliant boy, very brilliant. The only problem we have with this boy is that he did not write his answers the way we told him to write it. I said, which way? Madam, look at his notes now and look at what he wrote. He said, So my son summarized your 2 paragraphs into 3 concise sentences that tell the totality of what you are saying, and he's wrong and you are right. I said, nobody can pass your exam then. The next step, he was out of the school. Because for your generation, my son's generation, it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. Now, we are in post-COVID. We are talking about 21st century skills. What are these skills? Number 1 is what? Can you see? Is writing. So, to be successful in your future, you have to be able to write. But not only to write, you have to be able to write for the audience that you're writing for. My sister, she's a novelist. Her words are her words. She owns them. She does not refer to any research paper, do you? To get your ideas. She downloads from her head into paper. So that is what an author does. But before you can get to her stage, I think you have to pass a few exams. The almighty WAEC and Thereafter, you go on into university and you have to write research papers and stuff like that. You need to understand copyright and plagiarism because a lot of emphasis is being placed on the originality of work. And now, people who write the original work have all kinds of things put upon their page when you go and copy, such that if your work is now posted, it will track it and it will call you out as having plagiarized this work. But that doesn't mean that you can't take other people's work. What it means is that to use other people's work, you must use it correctly. So there's an appropriate way of citing people's work. So I said citing. So you want to use somebody's words to explain something because they can say it better than you. So you cite it. And the most simple way is that you use the quotation marks. Anybody seeing quotation marks knows that they're not your words. You borrowed it. And you can take that a step further by citing your source. Where did you get it from? Okay? Now, this is so small, you can't see it, but guess what? This is going to be left behind, and everybody should ask for it. But I don't say types of plagiarism. There's a complete one which is presenting or submitting someone's entire work as your own. And I take it back to my children in school who just photocopy and paste. Alright? Think of that as stealing. They just stole the person's work and they called it their own. So I'm sure in this house, everybody has repented. We know not to do it again, right? Good. So there's always the direct verbatim, using part of one's work without due acknowledgement. So if you use parts and just go on, you're wrong. But like I said earlier, you use part of somebody's words and you acknowledge them for being the source of your work, you're good to go. And there's so much more, I won't spend time on that. Now, frequently asked questions, because my children ask me this in my school. Is plagiarism a crime? When I keep on going on about, you can't do this. So, most already know that plagiarism is an ethical infraction and the violation of your school or workplace code of honor. Most organizations will tell you, most universities will tell you that plagiarism is not accepted. If you are caught, you will be punished by your school, fired from your job, or even your career can be ruined. So this is a skill that you have to imbibe now before you step out. Now, the next question was, how does it affect you? Now, to be called out for this won't send you to jail. No. But what to be called out means attention is on you as you are not authentic. That you are, give me a word, somebody. You are fake. And what does that cause? People avoid you. You write another paper tomorrow, people don't want to read it because the last time you were called out. Now, plagiarism also is when you sit down and you do somebody else's work for that person, and that person submits it. In university, if your friend knows, they can go and report you that the work you did was not your own. So in every way, what you need to do as Queens, so Queens College, is that you need to understand that whatever you do, make sure you use your own will. Say that. Your own words. You can always find the words to say what you have read. Even if you have to go through 3 or 4 drafts to get it right. The easy way is not to copy and paste. Now, you see that I put links for you need to actually take it.
No.
Now,
Mo ti send any
it is considered to be
phone
plagiarism.
number
I gave you.
ó tiẹ̀ tí ń
If
retí.
you click on that, straight up, you post your work in it, every part that is looking like it's plagiarized, it will highlight it for you, and you can change the words before you make your final submission. So, is it plagiarism if my friend and I study together and at the end of it our work appears to look the same? Do you have that problem here? You have a lot of that. Yes, it's a problem because you know what? The person that gets the work in first is the original. But the person that gets in first might not be the person that did the real work. So, this is my suggestion, and there's also a link for that. Is study together but write your papers separately. Have the ideas. You can never write the same paper if you stay in different places and write it. It's when you sit together, what did you write next? Where should you go next? That dialogue now makes your papers look the same. And that is where the problem lies. Do not read each other's paper when you are done. Don't give your paper to your friend and say, quickly read it. Why? Because your friend can like your paper so much and go and change. And submit before you. And then you are called out for copy. So again, goes back to what Auntie said, and I repeat. You own your own words. Stay with your words. Have confidence in what you are writing. If you know the topic is difficult, start early. Start early to do your research. Start to make your first draft. If you need somebody to read it, give it to somebody outside of your class to read. Make a second draft, get somebody to read it, and with each draft you get better. And then when you feel confident, you submit the final work. Now, keep your research and draft as evidence until your paper is submitted and marked, and you are free to go. Because some cases, and this is more for when you get into university because you are submitting online, because sometimes they might call you out. You need to show the evidence that you did the work. If you can prove that you did the work, then you won't have the problems. But for children in universities today, there's a lot. Is it only writings that can be plagiarized? Big N-O. Developing your social media content. There's something you see you like. You take a photograph of it and you go and post it on your own. But you forgot that somebody else did it, and you don't go and acknowledge where the source of that post was. That is also considered as copyright infringement and plagiarism. Okay? Let's leave all that. Tips. Well, how to avoid, understand what it is, reference all your sources, use quotation marks to mark up other people's ideas if they are more than 2 to 3 lines, acknowledge authors' intent and the references, and use of your work. Teachers, because hasty deadlines lead to these problems, so each assignment should be submitted in a soft copy. I don't know if you do that here. Now, can you see what is up there now? I would like you to read these. Okay, can somebody just stand up and read some quotes that help you to understand why plagiarism is a no-no for a queen? It might be for some other person, but you didn't get to Queen's College without using your brains, right? And so those same brains need to be exercised when you write. Please don't plagiarize. Okay? Now you know it's the time. So who's going to read for us? Go ahead. Can you see it? Stand up and read the big boys. You don't want to become guilty of plagiarism by letting someone else's words get inadvertently mixed with your own. If you don't feel the need to paste in a block of research while you're writing rather, be sure to highlight the copy text in a different color so you can go back and remove or rewrite it entirely later. Somebody else, pass to somebody else. When you have words of your own, it's a pleasure to credit other people for theirs. Christian philosophy. Yeah, would you like it if somebody took your words and put it in their story? You know you won't. That's the biggest reason why you want to do it to others. Okay? Next one.
There are hundreds, if not thousands, of other people on social media nowadays stealing others' artwork. They will take images or writings that others have produced and act like it's their own. Oftentimes, this flies under the radar and they get away with it for a long time. Certainly.
Well, the truth is that it used to fly under the radar, but with new technology, they are finding these things out, and sometimes you can get a mail that says your DM says take it down, it's not yours. We don't want to get that mail, right? So let's concentrate on learning how to use our words to rewrite the words we want to use in our reference papers. Now for literature students, sometimes we need to quote, right? Yes. But when you quote, you write that is a quote, you put it in, and you can even know the page this, you put it there. That means you have given the credits to the author. You are just using it to pass your exam. And on that note, I thank you all very much for taking our time to listen to me. It's been a pleasure.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Fantastic. So, in order not to waste time, we're going to jump into questions and answers now. I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions to ask. Or there are no questions? No questions? Okay, there are questions. So, I'm going to give the roving mic to the speakers, and I'll pick about 5 people. I'm not sure you can take too many questions, but I'll try and pick as many people in the time frame that we have. So, if you have a question, just put your hands up, please.
Put your mic there. Your mic there.
I read a poem by somebody, and he used colors to explain the story. And when I read the poem, I said to write a poem I'm using colors to explain my own story. And that poem was very interesting.
Hello. So your question is, you read a story, a poem, and the person used colors. So he was using colors, different verses in different colors, right? And so you liked that style, and so you adopted that style in your poem. That's not a problem. That's not plagiarism. No, that's the style of writing. You saw something there. Now, talking about the poems, I'd like to say that many more people put in entries for the last Poetry Day competition. But many were disqualified because it was not their original work. So if you're in the room and that was you, I hope you understand now what you had done wrong. So next time, because we're coming back, I hope to have a lot more of the original work. Use your own words.
Fantastic. Round of applause for her, please. Next question.
Good afternoon, my name is Elijah Mubaraka. My question is, if you take words from someone else's publication, you take words from there, but like you don't use it exactly the way it is. Maybe you replace some words, but the main thing is still from someone else's word. Is that plagiarism?
So you paraphrase what somebody else wrote in your own words. That's what you're asking. Is that plagiarism? No, absolutely not. We would not be where we were today. People wouldn't borrow other people's words. But the key thing is don't use it verbatim. All right? Verbatim, you just lift it and you paste it in your own. Once you take the time out to paraphrase it, so that it shows that the meaning is clear. And even with that, you can still reference. You can still reference. Thank you. That's a good question.
All right, round of applause for her. Like I said earlier, I work in the marketing and advertising space, so it's my job to come up with ideas on a daily basis. Those who knows that I also work in advertising. It's not, I tell my staff a lot of times, it's not as easy to come up with ideas. It's like you're a demigod because God is the one who creates. So you having to do that on a daily basis is not the easiest of things. So I totally understand where this comes in, but I'll say what I say to my staff all the time. There's no idea that's new under the sun. The only thing you need to understand is if you apply your own storytelling approach to things, which is what Saul talked about earlier on. I don't know why nobody's talking about asking questions about storytelling. It's very, very important. If you bring your own storytelling approach to the table, no matter how many things you read, as long as you have your own story to tell, you can lift an idea, you can lift a style, but if you have your own story, at the end of the day, it's your story. So you're telling your own story, you're not telling somebody else's story. Do you understand? There's a book called Still Like an Artist. I don't know if you've heard of that book. Still Like an Artist. It's very common in the advertising space because it says that there's no idea that's new under the sun. You can pick ideas and refine those ideas. You can take something that exists already, and so that's what innovation is about. There's nothing that's new. I mean, if you look at the story of Amazon, before Amazon came in, we had bookstores. But what they did was they took the entire model of the bookstores and then used technology to take it to the next level. So it's an existing model, but they sort of innovated upon it using technology. So it's the same way you should look at your writing style. There's nothing that's new. But you don't steal, like Sinamoduka said, you don't steal by lifting an entire person's writing or entire work of art and then pass it off as yours. Do you have any more questions? Do you have a question? Any more questions? Let me see your hands.
Can we throw questions at souls? I have a question.
Fantastic.
That might lead to them asking questions.
Okay.
So when you've told us that you were nervous when you started writing, but you took that bold step and you published your first book. How did you feel having done it? Because I have written a book and I've kept it for years because I feel nobody wants to read my story, and I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, go publish that book.
Please, Queens, before I answer, can you just join me? Can you stand up? Stand up with me. All Queens, stand up. Please, can you join me in telling her, please publish your book. Please publish your book. Thank you. Sis, nobody can tell your story. I can tell you confidently that God will judge you if you don't tell that story. Why? Because why do you think He put that story in you? For yourself? That's what I had to tell myself. When I started blogging, I thought I was the only one reading. Then people began to follow me. Then they encouraged me, these your blogs, they're blessing us. Put them together in a book you want to read. And I was like, really? And then I did that. And I started getting the feedback. And then in getting the feedback, I realized that nothing is new under the sun. But there's something in that your story that nobody has told us. So you are depriving us of the gift that God put in you for us. Is that fair? What are we going to tell her again? Start writing your book. Fantastic. Round of applause for her.
So thank you. I just felt that we should understand that, and I decided to use me as the guinea pig. So she's answered it. We will all write our stories because we never know which one is going to be the great next story.
Fantastic. I think I'm the second guinea pig on that. I've been writing a book for the past year plus, and I've been stuck on chapter 2. But I've sent it to a couple of people to look at it, and for every time they read it, they're always like, wow, this is a style of writing that we've never seen before. Some people think, oh, you shouldn't write, like this is how you talk, so you shouldn't write how you talk. And I'm like, well, this is how I know how to express myself, you know. And I think that's one of the reasons why I held back. The only reason why I'm not going to stop is because there's a publishing house that's interested now in the book, even though I mean, work is it's not giving me enough time to do that. So I'm guinea pig number 2. I can relate with that. Please do, because if you take that to the grave with you, you're just enriching all the cemeteries around the world. And like I told my sister here, God will judge you. God will judge all of you queens if you don't bring out what He has put inside of you. It's selfishness. You're actually being selfish. You know, and I write like I talk as well.
That sounds very scary.
No. See, it's in the Bible, it's scriptural. I write like I talk as well. And because I was afraid to publish, I didn't even show anybody my book. I just went quietly and I self-published it. Because I knew that it was an assignment from God. I had to do it. So I thought even if nobody reads it, my children will read it when they grow up. But eventually, 1 book turned to 4 books to 5 books. So tell your story in your own unique voice. There's somebody who will appreciate it. When you read my book, you're almost going to feel like you're sitting in front of me and I was gisting you. You're going to get the copies after this. I would hope to hear from you all. Exactly. Tell your story. Tell your story. You guys tell your stories. Even if it's just for your own future generations. And like I said, to leave a legacy behind. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so very much, ma'am.
In the absence of other questions, I want to quickly acknowledge the presence of a couple of people in the house. We have Mrs. Ajayi, who is the Vice Principal Academic 1. We also have Mr. Adeoju, who is the Vice Principal for Special Duties. Earlier on, we had Mr. Komolafe, the Vice Principal Academic 2. And we have Senior Abimbola Akibugbe, who is the chairperson of the mentoring committee for the Queen's College Organization. It's important to note that she graduated from Queen's College in 1983, which is when I was born. So, I mean, that's senior. Okay, fantastic. So we have, like Sinomoka said earlier, we have about 3 clubs to launch today. We have the book club, the creative writing club, and the poetry club. So I will allow Senior Monica to come up and do a brief introduction of the clubs and then launch them. Thank you. Round of applause for her, please.
So please, once again, we're at that point where we come to explain why we're doing what we're doing. It's not that we just want to take out time on Saturdays to see your lovely faces, even though that is a joy in itself. But it's also because we feel that we are called to impact you in ways that beyond academics, right? Now, as you're all preparing to go to university, the high jump that you have to make into getting into the university of your choice, it seems as if the bar is raised higher every year, right? And that what they want is somehow, you can't predict. But let me just use 5 minutes to tell you about the future of work. In 2019, I stumbled upon a video from the World Economic Forum. It's called The Future of Work. And I listened to it. And what they had to say blew my mind. And I think it would be nice for all of you to look at it. Because basically they said, the work that you are growing up to do in your future, many of them are just beginning to come into existence now. They said that 85 million jobs that we've already known as the careers and the jobs we want to go and engage in are going to be disrupted because machines, robots, AI is going to take over those type of jobs. But they gave some good news when they said that 135 million new jobs will be created. But for those new jobs, you queens need new skills. And what they're saying in the world today is knowledge-based education is good up to a point. It doesn't get you to the promised land. So you see the 5 skills that I put in the PDF. Number 1 was writing, and number 2 was technology. They are very key. But then there's adaptability, being able to change with the times. Then there's creativity, being able to think out of the box. All right? Then there's being able to work in a group, collaboration. There's so many new skills that people in the workforce are looking for beyond the A's. Because guess what? By the time you all sit for WAEC in your year, most of you will come out with A's. Amen. I really believe it. Now, if you all come out with A's, what sets one apart from the other? Right. You need the other things. The other things are the skills and competencies you acquire. So what we want to do as OGQC is that we want to start impacting you with some of the skills that you're going to need beyond the knowledge and that Queen's College is giving all of you. And so we want to start with 3 clubs. The writing club, the creative writing club. We're going to start with the poetry club, and the third one for that the writing, the poetry. Somebody help me out here. And the book reading club. So let me start with book reading. Book reading is about queens coming to read books to you, read books with you, helping you with pronunciations. Because at the end of the day, skill number 1 is writing, but it could also be communication, because verbal communication is also as important as your written communication when you write. So queens want to come in and just generally just help you develop better I don't want to say better because you speak well, but to help you to speak well publicly, to help you to pronounce your words right, and to help you to know how to speak, when to project your voice and when to, because sometimes you have to be dramatic, you have to use your voice. It doesn't come naturally for everybody. Right? So if you're interested in the book club, there's a list, sign up. The second club is the poetry club. Now, the last poetry competition was fabulous. It was fantastic, and they did a great job. All the girls that we got to see their poems. First thing was that the ideas were diverse, which shows that, which is a credit to PQC, right? Because it shows that you have range in your exposure, right? And so that is a good thing. So what we want now is to help you to develop your own poetry style. And there's someone who is going to be working with the Poetry Club, who actually belongs to the Poets Club of Nigeria. She was meant to be here today, but she's not, right? And so she is ready to take you on a journey into how to improve your poetry skills and also to get you to the place where they might publish some of these skills. The third one is the creative writing. Did you all like my sister's story? Yes. It was fun. I was listening to it with rapt attention. Okay. I can identify with that one. Which other one? Imole. We all want to be Imole, right? That's the goal, to be Imole. But we started with Ewa. Now, Ewa, is that a bad thing to have? No, they're all good. But at the end of the day, all that is nothing if you don't have the light. So that's the lesson I took away. And that book, I will be asking for some copies because I'm going to get my children in school to read it. So, having said that, it will be my joy if at the end of this presentation today, we have people signing up for all 3 clubs. But I will say this, at least one. Don't leave this room without signing up for one. Because you know what I will do? It will make all of us feel like we just wasted our time. And I don't want to believe that we wasted our time here today. Have we wasted our time? Good. But then when you write your name down, you have to take it a step further. Do you want to know what that is? You have to show up. So don't just write down your name because she said so. Write down your name because you want to learn more and you're committed to learning more. Now the Bible says your gifts will make a way for you. I don't know if there's anybody here, perchance, who might be wanting to apply to universities abroad. When you fill that form, they're going to ask you what are your extracurriculars, right? And they're going to ask you how many hours you spend with that extracurricular. Just in case you don't have a rich diversity, join up for one of these clubs. Because you know, when you say you're a member of a poets club, a creative writing club, or a book club, what that tells them on the other side is that you're a bit cerebral. They are deep. Okay? So if you like to write, it's good. You write poems, it's good. And then if you like to read books, you know, many of the universities, they will ask you to write the list of the 5 books that you read in the last 6 months, or the last journals that you read. So if you really don't like to, then join the book club. At least you know that every month there will be a new book to read. You can wrap up your 5 books and your 5 journals and your 5 magazines that you need to put on that list. Having said that, the choice is yours. We look forward to working with those who choose to sign up. God bless you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Fantastic. So we're not going to keep you guys here for too long. I'll quickly call on the chairperson of the Queen's College Old Girls Association Mentoring Committee to do the honors of awarding our guest speakers for the day. So a round of applause for her as she comes up.
Thank you. Good morning. I've had some discussion.
Staff of Queen's College, good afternoon, our guests, and the beautiful queens, good afternoon. So, architects who can write. Then Bola came, architect can write. So what was wrong with them with architect this morning? So I'm an architect as well. Because my project. When I turned 3 years, I decided to write books. I was grateful for every day until then. It was about maybe 21 days, and I started writing.
and it was such a therapeutic process. I wrote some of the not so pleasant things. They were hard to write, but I was so glad that I wrote them. And as Bola said, your story will help someone. Aside from the fact that I had so much fun writing, so many people were responding to me. I put it on Facebook, and so many people were responding to it. There was so much interaction. That was fun. But there was so much feedback as well, and a lot of people got back in touch with me who had experienced some of the difficult times that I experienced, and so it was healing. A lot of people said that it made them realize that it wasn't the end of the world, and you can move on. You fall forward, you make a mistake, get up and move on. So I just wanted to share that with you. And I also wanted to remind you, I say this to my children, a lot, that you shouldn't forget in sharing your story that the internet is unforgiving. So please take seriously all the caution that you've been given today about plagiarism and all that. And integrity is key. As you write, be true. Make sure you're true, so that anytime that internet regurgitates it, you're able to stand, hold your head up and defend what you've written. Thank you for being here. So we'd like to thank our guest speakers, Beautiful Salt, and Senior Dupe. Senior Dupe might go in some other ways aside from Queen's College. So we're grateful to have you here with us. We have this beautiful card for you. We appreciate for your support and time during the World Book Day event, Book and Copyright Day event 2021, courtesy of the Education Ministry.